Okay. So here in this verse we can see the second verse that Duryodhana's fear and his diplomatic veneer is being expressed. So he had this fear after looking at the army of the Pandavas that how they could assemble such a big force, and therefore immediately he went to his teacher to ask and discuss what should be the strategy, and his diplomatic veneer is there that we will see in the coming few verses how he was a very expert diplomat and very expert in the art of dealing with people. So now this here there will be an exhibition of the diplomatic talent of Duryodhan, which even Srila Prabhupada many times he appreciates that he was a perfect politician and very very diplomatic. So now the next verse is 1.3. So the translation of the verse, this verse is being spoken by Duryodhan. So he's telling to Dronacharya, O my teacher, behold the great army of the sons of Pandu, so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupad. So here the diplomatic talent of Duryodhan, it is very clearly we can understand from this verse. Here, Duryodhan, he was a great diplomat and he is pointing out the mistake of Dronacharya in imparting the military training to Drishtadyumna. Drishtadyumna is the son of Drupad and to the Pandavas, especially Arjun. So, as we know from Mahabharata, that Dronacharya was the teacher of all the Pandavas as well as the Kauravas, and he also taught the son of Drupad, and whose name was Drishtadyumna. So Drupad and Dronacharya they had some enmity. So there is a background story why Drupad and Dronacharya had this enmity. So in childhood, Drupad and Dronacharya they were studying in the same Gurukul. So Drupad was the son of a king, and Dronacharya was the son of a simple Brahmana. He was a simple poor Brahmana. So that was the Gurukul system, that whether you are the son of a king or you are the son of a very poor Brahmana, everybody used to go to Gurukul and used to get trained under the guidance of a guru, and they used to be treated equally. So Dronacharya, although he was the son of a poor Brahmana, and this Drupad, he was the son of a king, they were there as Gurukul mates in their childhood, and both of them became very good friends. So, in a moment of very great love and intimacy and great affection, Drupad promised Dronacharya that when I grow up and I become the king of my kingdom, that time I will give my half kingdom to you. This Dronacharya promised, sorry, this Drupad promised to Dronacharya. And Dronacharya, he took the words of his friend Drupad to his heart. Later on, when both of them passed out from Gurukul, so Drupad went on to become the king, and Dronacharya continued to stay in in poverty. So then one time, what happened? His son was crying because his son did not had milk. So the wife of Dronacharya was also crying, and the son was also crying. So Dronacharya felt so bad that I am so much poverty stricken that I cannot even provide milk to my son. So then he remembered that, but I have this friend Drupad who promised me that he will give half kingdom to me. So he thought that even if he does not give me half a kingdom, at least he will give me a cow by which I can feed my child. So this Dronacharya he went to Drupad to ask for the charity of one cow. But that time Drupad started laughing on Dronacharya and started making fun of him, and he was not properly received. And Drupad told Dronacharya, the friendship is possible only among the equals. So you are a poverty stricken Brahmana and I am a great Kshatriya, I am a king. We cannot be friends. So Dronacharya was very much insulted. So then he came back and he decided to take revenge. So when later on Dronacharya became the guru of the Pandavas, and also the Kauravas. So in Guru Dakshina, later on, when both of the children, both sides of children, the Kauravas and Pandavas, they were trained. So it was time for them to give Guru Dakshina to Dronacharya. So that time Dronacharya asked for this Guru Dakshina, that you go and attack on this kingdom of Drupad, capture him and bring him in front of me. So Duryodhan, he thought that we Kauravas, we will try first. So Dronacharya allowed. So Dronacharya then this Duryodhan, he went along with his forces. All the Kauravas they went and they attacked on the kingdom of Drupad. But Drupad could very easily defeat them, and he sent all the Kauravas back in embarrassment. So Dronacharya was like very horrified to see how his disciples got defeated by Drupad. So then Arjun came forward. He asked Dronacharya that Gurudev, this time you give the chance to me. And Dronacharya blessed, okay Arjun, you go. And all the other Pandavas also joined Arjun. So Arjun along with other Pandavas, they went and again they attacked the kingdom of Drupad. And this time Arjun was such a warrior that he could very easily defeat Drupad. He bound him and then brought him back to Dronacharya. I think I request everyone to please switch off their audio, or and maybe if you are on the street, then you can turn off your video too. Anyways, we will continue. Okay. So then Arjun and other Pandavas, they defeated Drupad and they bound him and brought him to Dronacharya. And then Dronacharya, he insulted him with bad words, and then he said, see, you were telling no that friendship is possible among equals. Now you see, now we are equals. So now you give me half share of kingdom. So forcibly then Dronacharya took away half portion of the kingdom from Drupad. And from that point onwards, these best friends who were best friends in the childhood, they became worst enemies. So Drupad was very insulted, and he also vowed that I will also take revenge. So then he performed a sacrifice, a yajna, and he asked for two blessings in that sacrifice. The first blessing was that I want a son who can kill Dronacharya. So that was Drishtadyumna, the son of Drupad. And second blessing, he asked for a daughter who will become the wife of Arjun, because he was very impressed by the military skills of Arjun. So when Arjun defeated him, he got defeated, so he was feeling bad, but he became very impressed that how powerful is this warrior. So he asked these two benedictions of a son and a daughter, a son who could kill Dronacharya and a daughter who in future will become the wife of Arjun. So the son was this Drishtadyumna and the daughter was Draupadi. So her name also comes from there, because she is a daughter of Drupad, so her name was Draupadi. So later on Draupadi got married to Arjun, and this Drishtadyumna, he became the cause of killing of Dronacharya in the battlefield of Mahabharata. But we can see another quality of Dronacharya here, that later on this same Drishtadyumna, who was supposed to kill him, he knew that this Drishtadyumna is going to kill me sometime in future, because this is the prediction that his father Drupad has asked in the sacrifice. But still, when Drishtadyumna came to learn the military science, still Dronacharya gave him he revealed all the secrets of military science to Drishtadyumna. So this is a Brahmanical quality, that they are not thinking about profit, loss, gain. They are thinking about performing their duty. So as a Brahmana, it was the duty of Dronacharya to give all knowledge to Drishtadyumna, because he was entrusted to Dronacharya as his student. So he knew that this person is going to kill me in future, but still he gave all knowledge of military science to Drupad, also this Drishtadyumna also. So that's a Brahminical quality. So that for that he is appreciated. Dronacharya is very much appreciated for showing such a high degree of Brahminical quality. But here we find that Duryodhan is pointing out this mistake, that now he is telling, just see this Drishtadyumna, who is your intelligent disciple. So he has arranged all this military formation in order to remind Dronacharya that you have only taught everything to him, and see today, now he has come for this purpose. Now he will kill you. So that is what he is wanting to point out, and at the same time is pointing out that you see the Pandavas, and especially Dronacharya's favorite student, Arjun. He showed him, see all these people, they are in front of you. So actually he wanted to incite the anger of Dronacharya. That see, because he knew that Dronacharya had some affection for the Pandavas, and especially for Arjun, who was the favorite student of Dronacharya. So he wanted to incite the anger inside Dronacharya. So therefore he is using these diplomatic words. He is telling, see, the son of Drupad, he is standing in front of you. So here we can see the great diplomacy of Duryodhan. And then now Duryodhan also wanted to warn Dronacharya that such leniency in fight, just like the leniency that you showed before, although you knew that this Drishtadyumna is going to kill you, still you gave them the knowledge of military science to him. If you again show that same leniency here, then again this will lead to defeat. Okay. So moving on to the next verse, we see here. Then again, this verse is being spoken, the fourth verse of first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. This is again being spoken by Duryodhan. So here he is telling, here in this army are many heroic bowmen equal in fighting to Bhima and Arjun, great fighters like Yuyudhan, Virat and Drupad. So here now he is pointing out that even though Drishtadyumna is not a very important obstacle, because Dronacharya was a very great fighter. He was like very much skilled in military science. So, but still, he is pointing out that even though Drishtadyumna, you may consider he is not a very great obstacle because you are very skilled, there are many others who are cause of fear. So, he is alarming Dronacharya. Duryodhan is making Dronacharya see the reality. So here Duryodhan, he specially feared Bhima. So here we can see he is mentioning the name of Bhima even before Arjun. So why he is doing it? Because he specially feared Bhima, and therefore even before Arjun he is mentioning the name. And there is a background story to this also, why Duryodhan is specially fearing Bhima, because Bhima has taken the vow in that disrobing ceremony of Draupadi. He took this vow. Many vows he took, 3 vows actually he took. So his first vow was that I will kill all the 100 sons of Dhritarashtra. So in the battlefield of Kurukshetra we see that all the 100 sons of Dhritarashtra, they were killed by him only. Bhima only killed all the 100 sons. And actually other Pandavas, they had opportunities to kill some of the children of Dhritarashtra, some of the sons of Dhritarashtra. But they did not kill because everybody knew that Bhima has taken this vow that I will kill all the 100 sons of Dhritarashtra. So they left them alive. Even Arjuna also, he had a face off with Duryodhan, but he wounded him but did not kill him. So because Bhima was supposed to kill everyone, and in that battle, his Bhima's anger was like it flared up. He was jumping up and down, and he was like such a person that even the Pandava army was fearing the anger of Bhima. Actually, he when he used to shout, that shout only used to break the heart of the enemies. So he used to kill each one by one. He killed all the 100 sons of this Dhritarashtra, and then he drank their blood. That was the ghastliness, and that was the anger that Bhima had. And Duryodhana knew all these things, therefore he is mentioning Bhima. So this was the first vow that Bhima took, that I will kill all the 100 sons of Dhritarashtra. Second vow that he took, especially for this Duryodhan, because Duryodhan, during the disrobing of the Draupadi, he pointed towards his thigh, that bring this Dasi and let her sit on my thigh. So Duryodhan, then that time this Bhima, he took the vow that I will break these thighs, which you are showing to Draupadi and asking her to come and sit here there. I will break these thighs. So second vow that he took, that I will break your thigh. So Duryodhan knew all these things, that Bhima has taken this vow. And the third vow that he took, that this was the person who was the person who was responsible for the disrobing of the Draupadi. I just forgot his name. One of the sons of his this Dhritarashtra, who just pulled Draupadi into the Swayamvar ceremony. So he has taken this vow. Anyways, whatever may be the name, he took this vow that I will just crack open his heart, bring out his heart, and drink the blood. And because with his two hands he had just pulled the hairs of Draupadi, the sanctified hairs of Draupadi. So I will just pull out both arms of this person. Okay. So these three vows, very ghastly vows, this Bhima took. So actually we see in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Bhima did all these things. That person's, he just broke open, just tear open the chest of that person, pulled out his heart, and then just drank the blood, and also pulled out the arms of that person. And Draupadi also took this vow that until I will I will just wash my hairs with the blood of this person, I will not dye my hairs. So she also took this vow, that because my hairs have been like kind of uh, become dirty because I have been touched by this person. Yes, his name was Dussashan. Dussashan. Now I could remember. So Dussashan was that person for whom Bhima took this vow, that I will pull out his arms, and then I will just pull out his heart also and drink the blood. And then after drinking the blood, he took some of the blood in his hands of Dussashan to Draupadi, and Draupadi washed her hairs with those blood, and then she tied her hairs. Otherwise, she used to keep her hairs open. So Duryodhana knew all these things, and therefore he is especially fearing Bhima, and especially here we can see he is mentioning the name of Bhima even before Arjun. So now here again Duryodhana mentions the name of Drupad because he wanted to leave no stone unturned. So previously he named this Drishtadyumna, who was the son of Drupad, and now he is directly mentioning that his son is also there and Drupad is also there, and both are there and both are going to fight with you. So this is what he mentions here. Now again in the 5th verse, so again now he tells, there are also great heroes, powerful fighters like Drishtaketu, Chiketana, Kashiraj, Purujit, Kunti Bhoj, and Sabya. So here a question comes in our mind, what is the advantage by mentioning the names of these fighters? Why we are going to read Bhagavad Gita, we are supposed to know about philosophy, we are supposed to know how to reach to Krishna. So what is the advantage that we are gaining by reading the names of these fighters? So here we should know that Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe. The Shastra tells that anything which is in relationship to Krishna, that is also as good as Krishna. Or if on this battlefield of Kurukshetra, Krishna would not have been present, then we would not have had any interest in this battlefield of Kurukshetra. There are so many battles which have happened in the history of the world, right? But we don't discuss about those battles, but we discuss about this battle, the battle of Kurukshetra. Why? Because that's the reason. Here Krishna is present. So Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe, anything which is happening, which has a sambandha with Krishna, so that becomes also spiritualized. This is like I'm using this laptop. So I'm using it for Krishna service. So this laptop is spiritualized. If I use a microphone, mic, if I'm using it for Krishna service, then it becomes spiritualized. If I use the same microphone for anything else, then it is material. But if I use it for Krishna service, it is spiritualized. So therefore, because Krishna is in relation to all these events which are happening on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, therefore all these things are spiritual in nature. So this we should know. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandha. Anything which has got sambandh with Krishna, that becomes spiritualized. So now this is the sixth verse, and then he is mentioning the names of some other fighters also. So there are mighty Yudhamanyu, the very powerful Uttamuja, the son of Subhadra and the sons of Draupadi. All these warriors are great chariot fighters. So here just one note. See, there are different gradations of warriors which Mahabharata uses. So there is a Rathi and Maharathi and Atirathi. Three kinds of warriors are there. So a Rathi means he can fight with 1000 soldiers together, and Maharathi means he can fight with 11,000 fighters single handedly, and Atirathi means he can fight with practically unlimited number of fighters. So Rathi, Maharathi and Atirathi, three kinds of fighters are categorized. So Arjun was an Atirathi fighter. Similarly, Bhishma was also an Atirathi fighter. Karna was, people used to claim, and he used to claim that I am an Atirathi fighter. But according to the estimation of Bhishma Dev, he was not an Atirathi fighter. According to estimation of Bhishma Dev, he was only half a Rathi fighter. So Rathi, Maharathi and Atirathi, three kinds of fighters. So that we should know here. So now the seventh verse. Now here Duryodhan is telling, but for your information, O best of the Brahmanas, let me tell you about the captains who are specially qualified to lead my military force. So now here we see Duryodhan did not want to discourage, because when Duryodhan is talking to Dronacharya, all the fighters have gathered to listen what the conversation is going on. Everyone is hearing. He is not just privately telling to Dronacharya. He is publicly telling, and everybody is hearing. So just before the battle, if you glorify the enemy, the enemy has this, enemy has that, enemy is so powerful, then the morale of the fighters may go down. So it was important to have an estimation that how this the enemies, how it powerful they are. So that is good. But now he is wanting to make up for the situation. So now he is telling that now I want to tell you about the captains who are on our side and who are leading our army. So therefore he did not wanted to discourage those who were listening to his own fears. So although he was fearful to see the Pandavas' strength, but still he never wanted to discourage. And here we know that Srila Prabhupada used to appreciate Duryodhan for this, that he was an intelligent person for doing this. Because estimating the strength of the enemy before the fight begins, this is a sign of intelligence. So Duryodhan also has some intelligent qualities, some good qualities. Okay, so that is also being mentioned here. So now the eighth verse. Then there are personalities like you, Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, Ashwathama, Vikarna, and the son of Somadatta, called Bhurishrava, who are always victorious in battle. Now he is further encouraging. So here we can see Duryodhana's expert diplomacy in talking to Drona while Bhishma was also hearing. So all these things he is telling publicly to Dronacharya, and Bhishma Dev and all other warriors are all listening. So here we see, here he is mentioning, see there was here Duryodhan was a little bit problem when he's speaking this verse, because Dronacharya is also there and Bhishma is also there, and he's speaking publicly. So whose name was he supposed to take first? Bhishma's name or Dronacharya's name? Because if he would have taken Bhishma's name first, then he was little fearful that Dronacharya would have felt insulted. So therefore he is very expertly handling the situation, and he's telling that there are personalities like you, Bhishma, Karna, like that he's telling. So why he's telling like that? Because he understood that Bhishma, because he was a Kshatriya, he would follow the etiquette of honoring a Brahmana and follow the etiquette of naming a Brahmana before him. So therefore he is telling कि Bhavan, there are people like you, Bhavan Bhishmascha Karnascha. So he's telling कि आपके जैसे लोग, you are there. Then he's telling कि Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, and then he's naming Ashwathama, Vikarna. So all these personalities, they are all very great fighters. So we know about already about Dronacharya, and then Bhishma, and after naming Bhishma, then he's taking the name of Karna, because Bhishma and Karna, they had some kind of enmity. Therefore Karna took this vow that I will not fight the battle till the time this Dronacharya, this Bhishma is still present on the battlefield, because he was thinking that if I fight the battle, Karna was thinking like this: if I fight the battle and I kill all the enemies, and then because he is the Bhishma was the commander in chief, he was the Senapati, so I fight and I kill all the enemies, but this old guy, he will take all the credit. He will take all the credit of killing everyone. So therefore he took this vow that till the time Bhishma is there on the battlefield, I will not fight. And therefore we see that after Bhishma, he fell down. He was shot with so many arrows and he fell down. After that, the next Senapati who became Karna became. So then this Karna is there, and Kripa, Ashwathama, Vikarna, and so many others are there here. Oh, okay, I did not see the time. I think we have already crossed our time limit. So this verse will still take some time to explain. So I think maybe we can discuss it next time. Okay, so whatever we discussed, anybody wants to ask any question? Any doubts regarding what we discussed today? Anybody wants to say anything? Okay. Okay, so this verse, the discussion of this verse is not yet complete. So we will continue the discussion of this verse tomorrow. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.